Sponsored by Baked Good. Fact: Baked Good delivers delicious homemade sweet and savory treats to Accra and Tema on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. You can pre-order via WhatsApp at 05595 30588 or on Instagram via DM at BakedGoodGH.
Welcome back to the Wonder League podcast. Game week 38. Season is done, guys. How you feeling? It's about to be a wrap.
I'm feeling fine, my man.
I'm feeling fine, my man. 2 hours of the well been said, man. But on the real, I'm just happy to have made it this far. Was this episode 11, I think? And it's a really nice place to end. Who's counting exactly? It's a really nice place to end things because we started in general. We've come such a long way, and we are glad you guys have been here, loyal, tuning in.
Love.
You know, I'm sure you have been tuning in for the money, but don't worry, we won't hold it against you.
You know. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'll tune in for the money too, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey, so it's, it doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter what gets you here, as long as you stay.
Yeah, exactly.
For one reason and stay for another. So
exactly.
Y'all better stick around when we cut that money out.
Exactly. That's how strip clubs get you. You know, they get you in with the girls, and next thing you know, you're ordering chicken wings.
Yes, sir. And those
is that what happens?
So I'm told. So
he's been told.
I heard from a friend.
Shout out to Lemon Pepper Lou.
Yo.
Anyway, so guys, the last time we were here, we obviously didn't know about the triple game week United had. SG, how do your fancy go?
So, how didn't it go? How didn't it go? That's why I say people should listen to me. Like, dude, Charlie, I killed it, man. Yeah. Or I should say Bruno killed it. Bruno killed it, everything is on God Deliver Fresh. He's just like he delivered. He delivered. My man came through. He was my triple. Yeah, triple captain. I knew this was coming. I had the foresight. My third eye was telling me to keep my triple captain, and it paid off. Big dividends.
No, great stuff. So yeah, like I said, the season is pretty much done from the last game week. So we're gonna go through it like you guys already know, but we're gonna, switch it up a little bit since the end. So yeah, so I'll just check in, at least as of now. Martinez, the top fancy top fancy keeper, excuse me. And PM, has this been a surprise? Is this still surprising? Would you expect it?
Hindsight really is amazing. So regardless of what I say, it's it's going to be something for people to mull over. But in my opinion, I won't say that I expected him, because expect is a really strong word.
Right.
But at the same time, seeing that he is the top fantasy goalkeeper, I'm not surprised. I saw some of the performances he put in for Arsenal towards the end of the season, and nothing short of spectacular. In fact, in the whole season, even before Leno got injured that season, he was sometimes our Europa League goalkeeper, and he was putting in the performances, and they were impressive. And I remember Arsenal fans would say, yo, this Martinez guy, honestly, if Leno gets injured, I'm not too worried. And lo and behold, he got injured, and they weren't too worried because he delivered a good. He's very good with his feet. That's one of the things. He's much better with his feet than Leno. And nowadays with modern goalkeeper, having that control with your feet is very important, and it's something that all the top coaches look for. So I think that Aston Villa, even at the age of, I think he's 28, 29, even at the age of 28, 29, they've found a gem. Because this is someone that no one expected, no one saw coming as of the middle of last season. Towards the end, yes, you could make that judgment, but before that, no one saw that coming.
Right. And SG looking forward, to next season is he automatically have one on the spots for is he going to be a starting keeper next season? At least to start the season.
I mean, sure, you can do it. Goalies are not where you focus your energies. For me personally, my approach, I think he was definitely going to be one that is going to be considered in a lot of teams. But you kind of have to see, everything changes. Last year, who were there? There were the Flex and the Lundstroms that you'd have thought should have been your were coming in hot. So you're like, okay, I'm going to pick them this season, and look at Sheffield relegated. So you never know. Is Villa going to perform as well? Is he going to have as many opportunities to get as many points as he has this season? And if you look at his stats, he's up there by a lot. The closest keeper is 26 points away. It's wild. I don't know if that's necessarily sustainable, and we'll see how much he costs at the beginning of next season, given what he's done. But yeah, definitely someone to consider. But it's keepers, so you kind of just have to stick with what you know when you're picking when you're selecting your team, deciding what your budget is and all that. So
I just want to give a very, 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 very quick shout out to some guy who has been on my back, and you guys have been bothering me about him for the longest time. Nick Pope.
Oh yeah,
ended up being
the Pope.
Tied for fourth.
Yes, sir.
In terms of the best goalkeeper out there. And if you ask me honestly, I'd even put him at number 6 because I think Lloris is better. Actually, let me take that back. Lloris is higher priced than he is, so perhaps you might say value-wise, Pope has been better. But one keeper that we really have to mention is Mendy from Chelsea. Mendy has come in, he didn't even necessarily start the season, but here he is now amongst the top goalkeepers in the league, and I have to commend him for that.
Yeah, no, that's a shout out to Mendy. SG, any other keeper you wanna shout out real quick? Any keeper that surprised you actually?
Yes, number 2 on the list. The Leeds keeper, Meslier.
Oh yeah.
Dude, the guy is doing something. Like, he came in, he's young. How old is he? He's like 21, inexperienced, playing with Marcelo Bielsa.
Yeah.
Probably a very demanding coach. His first season in the Premier League, and the man has been performing, even for a team as leaky as Leeds can be. Like, he's still. Yeah,
that's a live reaction to.
I just like
the Liverpool score again.
I want to tell the viewers what's going on. So SG is watching the Liverpool West Brom game. I'm also watching it, but my stream is obviously behind, and he keeps reacting to it, and I kind of now know what is going to happen. I see that Liverpool have a corner, and I know they are going to score. I knew it was going to be Alisson because
he did not know it.
I knew it was Alisson because I saw the man running up, and the way SG reacted, I'm like, it was probably Alisson who scored this.
I was just blowing my nose. I don't know what these guys are talking about.
Okay, we hear. But anyway, it was a great goal by Alisson, and well done to Liverpool.
Yeah, so I guess Alisson is the best keeper now.
There you go.
I suppose so. Yes. Alex said, I wonder how many points he's going to get for that actually, because
Yeah,
he's going to get
defenders
very
like
likely he's going to
6.
get there. He gets 6. Defenders get 6. I wonder how many goalkeepers get. And then he's going to get the bonus 3. Wow, that's quite a few points. He's definitely gonna get a bonus 3 because he scored a winning goal.
Do defenders get 6?
I actually don't know. That's a good
Midfielders
question.
get 5. Midfielders get 5 for a goal. Strikers get 4.
Yeah, it'd probably be 6.
So yeah.
I mean, we might as well just check the rules and
I'm sure you can all guess who came through with the assist.
Who came through with the assist? Trent.
Oh
yeah, that's great.
Trent is trying to book his ticket. The man wants to be on that plane for the Euros.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so 6 for goalkeepers, which I think is kind of unfair because you don't expect a goalkeeper to score a goal. So I think they should get more than 6 points.
Like 10.
Yeah, they should get more than 6 points for scoring a goal. But hey, that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Anyway, seeing that I haven't heard SG react anymore, I'm going to assume that
the game's over.
Yeah, West Brom haven't scored. West Brom haven't scored and the game is over. So.
No, I was sticking to my word this time.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So what were we doing? We were trying to record a podcast. Let's continue.
For part of the live reactions. So moving on, PM. Last and final game week. Who was the best keeper? Apart from Alisson.
I mean, if you don't have Alisson in your team, what are you doing? I've been saying it the whole season. Truthfully, I think looking at the round of fixtures, there are 1 or 2 teams with a few like tough games, and depending on where they are on the table, they might be really, really crunch games that I wouldn't pick goalkeepers from there. So I'm talking about Lloris, I'm talking about Cassius Michael. Leicester and Spurs are playing each other. But otherwise, based on, and I also have to say same for Martinez, because obviously Chelsea might still be in that kind of mix where they have to win. So I wouldn't go for any of those guys. But other than that, the best goalkeeper in the league has been, apart from the guys I just mentioned, has been Meslier, and they are playing West Brom. So I would say go for Meslier because it's the last game of the season, last home game of the season. Leeds are going to have their fans behind them for the first time in the Premier League in a very long time. And it's going to be a feast. I mean, not in terms of goals scored, in terms of entertainment, in terms of the players are going to be there to make their fans happy. And I fully expect Leeds to win. So going for Meslier because I think that is a game where they really should keep a clean sheet. And hopefully they will.
Nah, that's really well said. SG, who you got?
With that being said, the usual disclaimer: if you are trying to change your goalkeeper at this time of the season, it's already too late.
I know. I mean, like Charlie,
stick whatever you got.
I can't see a situation where this is where you're spending your one free transfer or
yeah.
And if you're taking some minus for Charlie, I don't know why keepers are looking. But that being said, we have a podcast. We have to give all the information.
Yes,
and for me, I think this week, despite Pia made some good points about the last home game and just having fans and how we some teams to do better and stuff. But I think Pope, they're playing Sheffield United. Sheffield is already relegated. Like I just don't. And Sheffield, like, they don't really have much of a goal threat anymore. I just don't see it happening. Pope has been really on good form. It's like his last chance to stake a claim for his claim and make sure that he's on that plane for the Euros. I see a good performance. I see a clean sheet. So that's
the only thing I might say about that is Sheffield United is at home and Burnley don't really have much to play for. Sheffield also don't have much to play for, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up 0-0, but I really do expect Sheffield United to be pushing, which in all honesty could actually end up working in Burnley's favor, because what that means is Sheffield United, like you just mentioned, they can't finish anything, They don't have that striker in their team. And so they might be shooting a lot, but not necessarily scoring. And that actually might work out in Pope's favor. So in a sense, I do agree with you. That's not really where I started off when I was making my points, but I realized that actually it could work out in Burnley's favor.
He took the long road. He took the scenic route. But, people always end up on my view. So let's go.
Okay, Drake.
All right, great. Again, moving on to some of the defenders. We have Dallas. We spoke about Trent 2 minutes ago. And Wan Bissaka, top fancy defenders. SG, any surprises there?
Wan-Bissaka, honestly. The United defense has been better than it's given credit for, but it's also like I don't know. They've definitely ridden their luck a lot during the season. Wan-Bissaka, we know his defensive attributes. He's a good quality defender. He's strong in the tackle. He has the interceptions, but the translation to fantasy was something that would have been. He's not exactly someone you think of when you're thinking assists. He hasn't provided that many, but surprisingly has a few this season. I think I was looking this up the other day, but I forget. Wan-Bissaka, I think, has maybe 4 or 5 assists on the season, which by his standards is pretty good. And I guess the clean sheets helped him a lot this season. But if he had told me at the beginning of the season he'd be top 3 fantasy, top 5 even, like I wouldn't have been sure about that. It wouldn't have made. Alexander-Arnold makes sense to me. I mean, he's always there at the end of the season. Dallas was an unknown quantity. This was Leeds' first, season backup, so it wasn't like there was no way to know exactly how it will go. I'll say Dallas and Wan-Bissaka definite surprises. But other than that, let's see, Cresswell, maybe even Cancelo can also lay arguments to being more surprising additions to finish in the top 10. But I guess they've had good seasons. Defenders like goalkeepers is hard to predict, and like even Trent, not a stellar season by his standards, but he's still top 3 defenders this season. So defenders, there are 1 or 2 known quantities. They'll be there or thereabouts at the end. But the others, Charlie.
So it's just interesting to think about, because when Wan-Bissaka first burst on the scene, he was known for years being a tough tackler for Crystal Palace, but even more so for the fantasy boys as being that cheap defender that will get you points. And the season after he moved to United, his price went up, and I get the feeling people didn't pick him as much. But now he's really come full circle from being the cheap defender that gets you points to just being the defender that gets you points. And that's just very interesting to think about. But as far as being a pure defender, it's justice, because when it comes to being a pure defender, I think this season, and I don't want to speak for active players, because there have been injuries, but this season, I can only think of one person that can compete on Wan-Bissaka's level in terms of pure defending. And feel free to correct me if there are other people escaping my memory, but Ruben Dias is the only person that comes to mind when I'm talking about people who actually defend, and not the Trent Alexander-Arnolds that they think they are David Beckham. And I mean, I'm literally watching this Liverpool game, and the man was on the right wing, and he cuts inside and shots. I'm like, why is this your right back? This is not a right back, But yeah, more power to him though. More power to Trent. But anyway, yeah, Wan-Bissaka. It's only fair because I think a lot of times fantasy doesn't reward people who actually defend. It rewards people who get clean sheets, but that's more of a collective effort.
Right.
But people who actually defend it's not really. Yeah.
And just a little updates here. I'm just seeing that as it stands. PM, Alisson only got 2 bonus points.
Really? Wow.
Yep, Salah got 3.
That's
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Go thirsty Salah. Well, more power to him. More power to him.
So
it's kind of shocking. I guess perhaps it's because Alisson didn't have that many saves to make in the game, so that didn't help him. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked because, well, I guess also Salah, it kind of makes sense because I know the way the equalizing goals. So that is, if I remember correctly, that is a factor they consider, as well as scoring the winning goal, of course. But hey, who would have thunk it? Nah, Alisson would be getting that many points this week.
Right. I know, right? Okay. Moving on. Crossover back. He has West Brom, Southampton left, SG. I know we said guys to just I think we figured he was done because that's what it looked like, but I see he's back and healthy at least last I checked. Are we adding him back for the last 2 games or?
Yeah, I mean, I would pick up Cresswell. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't pick up Cresswell unless I really needed a defender for some reason. But you're trying to get the most points in this last game week. Yeah. Once again, I think we've said this a number of times. Midfield and forwards, this is where you're finding your points, specifically midfield. So your last game week transfer, Charlie. I'm not really looking at defenders like that. But Cresswell is a good consideration. I mean, West Ham still have something to play for. They're trying to solidify. They have an outside chance of the top 4. As of recording, we don't know what will happen. Very outside chance. I don't think it will happen, to be honest. It's probably not going to. But in solidifying the Euro positions, getting into Europa League and stuff like that. I think position-wise, they still have something to play for, and they're playing a Southampton team who is now safe and doesn't have much to play for. So I can see this being a good team, a good time for West Ham players. To be included on your team. So
okay.
Alisson not receiving the 3 bonus points. Just looking at the criteria, and it seems as though if you are a forward and you score a goal, you get 24 bonus points. Let's call it pre-bonus points because that's what they use to calculate who gets the 3 and the 2 and the 1. You get 24 of those if you're a forward. You get 18 if you're a midfielder, and you get 12 if you are a defender or goalkeeper, which is counterintuitive because you think that having a goalkeeper or defender scoring a goal would be something of great value. But it seems as though, looking at the criteria, they are really just rewarding you for doing what you're supposed to do. So if you're a goalkeeper, you are just expected to make saves. And, if you're a forward, you are more expected to get goals. So that's what they are rewarding you for. But more power to them. More power to them.
Honestly, Rob, though. But, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people know who the real MVP is.
People know the
exactly.
Real. PM, your favorite question? the first lineup for game week 38.
You're talking to me like I wasn't prepared for it. And guess what? You'd be right. But anyway. So I guess for last game week, we're looking at really, you should be looking at the people playing home because they are going to be having their fans backing them. And I already mentioned Melier. I'm going to go with that man, Stuart Dallas, because he's been phenomenal. I'm going to go with a sneaky Kieran Tierney because he's also been really good for Arsenal. And they're playing Brighton, who we know like to play a very open, expansive game. So I feel like there might be a few goals or assists in that game as well. And last, but definitely not the least, that man, David Beckham himself, reincarnated, even though the man is not dead. I'd go with Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Okay.
Yeah. Good shout. Trent has to be top of my list because Liverpool are in a must-win game at home with Anfield rocking again, which is something Klopp has complained about all season. The lack of fans and how it has affected Liverpool. Never mind his relentless his his relentless asks of his defenders and stuff, which have depleted their, well, let's say, stamina over the past 3 years. It's just the end of his cycle, but sure, let's blame the fans. Anyway, that's a quick aside here. You can tell what I think of Klopp. But Alexander Arnold, yes, definite. I think you're playing Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have nothing to play for. You're playing against a Liverpool team needing a win on the last day in a packed, well, not packed Anfield, but an Anfield with fans again, which will be rocking. So Trent has to be number one on that list for me. Leeds for a similar reason. They're playing West Brom, but also because the Leeds fans haven't really had much chance to see their team play in the Premier League that much. So with the fans, Leeds are renowned for being some pretty boisterous fans. So I can see that being a good performance by the Leeds players. So for that reason, also Dallas. And last but not least, I would pick a United defender. I'm torn between Wan-Bissaka or Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw on one hand will have Adama Traore to be contemplating on that side, but Luke Shaw is in the form of his life, and I can see with that low block that Wolves like to play with, that United will need their fullbacks to put some pressure on the game and create chances. So I think, going to head, I'm going to pick Luke Shaw as the third man in that lineup. One last chance not one last chance. There's a final he has to play later, but I just talked myself into another realization. United will be having a final 2 or 3 days right after that game. So maybe they might be rested, or maybe it's a chance, depending on what the lineup is. But I suppose, yeah, but they're defenders. They don't do much running anyway. I'll stick with it. Sure. Watch telly start. It's fine though. It's cool.
I just want to assure our listeners that SG is not doing cocaine. It's meth. It's probably meth or something. He's not that rich for cocaine. Do people sniff meth? I'm making this up. I guess meth is smoked, isn't it?
Never.
I don't know, Charlie. You gotta tell me.
Correct answer. You've done well.
I was about to answer that. Set myself up right there. Just kidding. All right, tied at 5 apiece. Moving on to midfield maestros. SG Oman Fernandez, Son, Salah, top 3 fantasy defenders. I'm guessing nobody's surprised about Salah because, yeah, we've been known. But yeah, did any of these exceed your expectations for this season? Is there anyone you think is missing? Who you had expected to be up there?
No, these three are players that you will think are like in any given season will be there or thereabouts. Maybe De Bruyne out of thoughts would have been a little higher, but come think of it, his season has been hampered by injuries, and his season has been, and every time he's come on, I think given all the injuries he suffered, actually De Bruyne has maybe done better than I would have expected, given where he is at the end of the season. And all of a sudden, of course, he's injured again as we are as we are talking about this. So maybe in terms of surprises, he would be one. Sterling has still done well, but I feel like he has underwhelmed, mainly because he hasn't even been playing that much recently in the past couple of weeks, but he's still up there. And I think Sterling could have done so much more this season, or I'd have expected him. If you watch Sterling play, the man misses so many chances. The biggest surprise for me would be Jack Harrison. The Manchester City prospect playing his trade at Leeds right now.
Yes,
Even when you watch Leeds, it's kind of crazy how much how I don't know if it's sustainable or not for the next season if Jack Harrison will keep performing. He is definitely a baller. He can play, but he's kind of like he reminds me of Adam Lallana in that sometimes he seems like a lottery player. Although I guess Bielsa doesn't allow people to coast, so you can't do that on a Bielsa team. So he's definitely hardworking. But when you watch his game, he's been popping up with assists and goals here, and even then he never quite seems to be the danger man. I think teams are always probably more concerned with Rafinha or Bamford than they are with Harrison. But Harrison has been delivering the goods, and more power to him. We'll see if it's sustainable next season, but he would be he's a big surprise for me this season.
That's a good shot. And speaking of Harrison, PM for last 2 games. I mean, it's kind of been on a run here. I think carrying Gameweek, I think he had 2 assists.
He 2 assists and a goal.
And a goal, right? Yeah. So
Harrison, and that goal was so sumptuous. Deftest touch ever.
Yeah. PM. Southampton, West Brom. How you feeling about Harrison for those last 2?
So I see West Brom, and I've been pining for Leeds players this whole podcast. I said stick with Melly, I said stick with Dallas, and
that's true.
It's going to be the point where you can only select one more Leeds player. So it's going to be, is it going to be a midfielder? Is it going to be a striker? And that is the question. And I guess you really have to kind of look ahead. We haven't gotten to that part yet, but look ahead at some of the striking options or decisions you will have to make in the final game week before you come to that decision. But in isolation, I want to say, of course, pick Harrison. Of course, pick Harrison. The man is 2 goals, 1 assist, and at the end of the season, you are playing in front of your fans. I'm always going to tell you to pick him. So 100%, yes. But one thing I do want to touch on, it doesn't have that much relation to fantasy, but in a sense it does. It's more some prognostication for next season. So Leeds, those
the Blefo is coming out.
Yo, I told you I'm from the UK, so I'm from the UK, so y'all were learning it in school, but I was just born with it. Oh yeah. I've been around the US, UK, whatever. If it's English, I know it, I do it. But anyway, so for next season, as you was talking about how he doesn't think that Leeds can sustain this high level of intensity in their play, and I agree with them. They have been doing it for 3 years, and you can argue season 1, that's your first season. They almost got promoted, I believe, but they missed out on it. And so season 2, you go again. You are gunning for promotion, and they were able to sustain it and get promoted. Season 3, in the Premier League, your first season in Premier League, you have to show what you're about, play really well, and they did that. season 4, what are they going to be playing for? Because we already know that they are this team that is a very, very good mid-table team. Yes, they could play a little better and get into the top half, maybe be 8th, maybe be 9th, but that's not too much different from 11th, which is where I think they are right now. Or actually they are 10th, sorry. It's not too much different from that. So it's like, why are you going to be playing for next season? So I think performance levels are going to drop unless they do the whole Wolves thing where recruitment is crazy. They get players that you are really asking yourself, you shouldn't have access to these players. Wolves have this system where I don't remember the Portuguese agent, I forget who it was, but it gives them so many good Portuguese players. Like the Portuguese national team practically plays for Wolves at this point. And if they are not in the national team, they are on the fringes of the national team. So Leeds are going to have to do something similar if they are going to be sustaining this level of intensity in their game, because SG also touched on this. Klopp and what he demands from his players sometimes, is really high out there. And of course, they're going to suffer burnouts. I very much see this happening to Leeds next season, but I'm prepared to be wrong. Let's see what they do in the transfer market.
Okay. So, very well said. And as always, PM, your best midfield lineup.
I mean, I'm more than happy to go, but I feel like you have to give SG a chance. Let SG go first.
SG.
Charlie the guy, Bob. All right. I'll do it. For the last game week, midfield lineup. I would like to put some City players on there, but it's City. Who knows who's going to start? Please. Who knows who's going to play? No, you can be telling. But I'll look. My approach right now is for teams who still have something to play for and who have big games. And right now, Leicester Spurs looks like quite a game. Leicester was probably going to need a win there, and that's it. They're going to bring their big guns. So Tielemans has been in some good form. I like the look of him. Madison hasn't actually even been starting recently. But yeah, and Tielemans has probably been the second best midfielder. Maybe he's providing assists, he's scoring goals. So I like the look of him for this game week. We've already talked about Jack Harrison, Rafinha, and those kind of Leeds midfielders, and I think I'll stick with Jack Harrison as well for that game week. West Ham are playing against Southampton, also have something to play for. So I like Lingard in that respect. Also, last chance for Lingard to prove himself and maybe stake a claim to get on that Euro. So I'm looking at Lingard as well. And then of course we have Salah. I think that goes without saying. The United midfielders, it's a little hard because they'll be playing the Europa League final that week. So I can see Ole trying to rest players. United has famously had so many games this season, and I think they've played the most across all Europe's top 5 leagues at this point. And I can see Ole trying to rest a lot of players. So I wouldn't put too much. I wouldn't be thinking too hard about Fernandes or Rashford. Maybe Greenwood if you're feeling lucky. I can see Greenwood starting that game. But anyway, I think I'll divest from there. I like Son in that game as well against Leicester. So yeah, that's my lineup. That's my midfield lineup for this game week.
Okay. PM, anything to add to that? Or replace?
Very solid lineup. But my only thing is I would try and avoid going for the Leicester Spurs game because it's at that point they may both have something to play for, and it's like it might be a case where both teams play in such a way that there's a draw or Leicester comes on top or Spurs comes on top, or it's kind of hard to predict. And
you just said all the possible results.
I mentioned all three outcomes. Yes, I know. That is what I was going for. What I was, and I guess my point was everything is possible, really, is what I'm trying to say. And everything is probable, sorry. And equally as probable. And I don't like to gamble in this situation. So that's a match that I avoid. But when it comes to other games like Arsenal, Brighton, I think Arsenal might win that one. I think Leeds might win their game. I think, let's face it, Man City win their game every single time. You know, no matter who they face, whether home or away, most likely are going to win. But especially in the last game of the season at the Etihad, dress rehearsal for Champions League final, I wanted to think that Man City will win that. And I think West Ham is going to beat Southampton. So instead of going for players from the Leicester Spurs game, I might, of course, Liverpool too, sorry. I might go for more players from Liverpool, more players from I want to say Arsenal, but not really. more players from Leeds and perhaps someone from West Ham. Sorry, I might do like Jesse Lingard, someone, but I wouldn't necessarily go towards the Leicester Spurs game.
Okay, I'm out of that. And moving on to deadly forwards, your man, PM, even though Bamford kind of fallen off the last few weeks, still the top three forwards along with Kane and Vardy.
It's not really been a good competition in terms of fantasy forwards this season. Because look at the table and you have Harry Kane, who is he's a good 52 points ahead of the nearest competition. Yeah, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. Like, what have you guys been doing all season, man? Come on. But anyway, I guess that really has to do with I suppose Aubameyang is not even a striker this season. He's a midfielder, but yeah, I don't even know who to blame for that. Who are the strikers that didn't show up? Come on, guys. You need to do better.
Who didn't show up?
This season, strikers?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same can be said for the United forwards. They're all midfielders now. Rashford, Martial. I think even
Martial
Greenwood
listed as a midfielder in fantasy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh no, actually, it's listed as a forward, but he's had a terrible season anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He big candidate for hasn't shown up this season. Right. It's kind of hard to say which strike. I guess some of them have been injured, like Danny Ings, but he's still up or and about in that frame. So
let me ask the question a different way.
Timo Werner, even Timo Werner.
I was going to mention him, but let me ask the question a different way though. Yeah. Is it that some strikers didn't show up, or Harry Kane has just been performing at an unbelievable level?
Could be both, man.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think Harry Kane had that blistering start to the season where he and Son were just taking everyone for a ride and assisting and playing like it was only two of them playing games. And you can see it's in that 52-point gap you were referring to earlier. I think that's a big contribution to that. And generally speaking, I'm with you. I think forwards on some levels, some forwards also have underperformed. And it's hard to make that claim when you're seeing some of these points, like Jamie Vardy, for instance. He's top 3. He's definitely done well, but he went through some rough patches during the season, like uncharacteristic of him, and he did have some injury trouble earlier. So did he underperform? I kind of think he could have got some more points, which is hard to say, especially since he's top 3 anyway. Um, so it's to answer your question, I think it's both. Kane has been brilliant, and I think some strikers just haven't hit the heights that we would have expected of him, even if on the face of it, maybe it's a Premier League wide thing because Charlie, when you look at all the points and the strikers available and the order, like it's the people you expect to be at the top are at the top, but did they get as many points as you would have hoped?
Yeah.
Can't say they have, you know.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know about you, but usually I just go like 3 strikers, sometimes 2, but mostly I go with 3 strikers. But it seems like this season would have been a good season to go 2 strikers and perhaps the 5 midfielders and 3 defense as your average formation. But yeah, we are where
Most
we are.
most definitely, most definitely. I have to agree a lot with that. It's definitely been a season for the midfielders.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, like a lot of midfielders and the top goal scorers this season. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruno will always score penalties, and so that's no surprise.
Yeah.
Hey, someone's got to score him. Might as well be Bruno.
Right. And Benteke, 3 goals, 1 assist in the last 5. Arsenal, Liverpool next PM. I mean, there's no such thing as a must-have at this point, but for those trying to just make that last leap and overtake someone, is he the one to go with?
So when Benteke first moved from, I can't even, where was Benteke before he went to Liverpool? I can't even remember. But when he first moved from wherever he was and went to Liverpool, there used to be this meme where there's this bad guy.
I feel like he's been such a Crystal Palace player for so long. I was thinking the same thing. Like,
I was like, wait, who's in there? Anyway,
yeah. So there was this meme when he first moved to Liverpool, where there's this guy sitting on his couch.
Villa.
Yep, I just saw that too. Where he was sitting on a couch, this bad guy sitting on the couch, and he's like, Benteke, no, please, with your Benteke. And that's like how I feel. I feel right now. It's like, yeah, Benteke has had this patch where he scored these goals. And I know, EPL is about going with the form striker, but something about the man just doesn't strike me as, hey, go for this guy.
Yeah.
And there really have to be better options. But I say that, and we just literally had a discussion about how some strikers haven't shown up this season. And, maybe it's time to throw intuition out of the window and just go with the stats. And if Benteke is playing well, go with Benteke. I wouldn't do that still though, but I wouldn't blame anyone who would. But I guess when it comes to selecting your strikers, I will more inform you of which strikers I go with. But Benteke for me he's not the one. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's true. And with that said, PM, on that note, let us know who you'd go with.
Well, apart from Patrick Bamford and Harry Kane.
You got the whole Leeds team now.
What was that?
You have the whole Leeds team.
I mean, like I said, if it's about, I'm not going to tell you don't pick these guys. I'm saying pick these guys if you can. I guess the way I'm thinking of it is everyone is in a different situation financially, and some people might be able to afford these guys. Some people might not be able to afford these guys. And so really, if I had to say pick one over the other, I'd say pick Harrison right now, because Bamford is, I say that and I'm second guessing myself, like, Bamford might show up this weekend. But I'd say pick Harrison right now, because just over the course of the season, yes, Bamford has scored more points, but I think recently Harrison has been doing the business a little bit more. So that would be my reason to go for Harrison. But if you could only pick one, Harrison. But if you're in the situation where you are not able to get Harrison, Bamford is not a bad replacement. Is why I say Bamford. So sorry, back to your original question. Harry Kane, Bamford, and just looking at the last fixtures, I think we are going to get a lot of what's the word? You know how the season sometimes ends and like the coach is like, oh, let me give this youngster a chance to play here, youngster. Right. That kind of thing might happen on the last day. And so I'm not inclined. I want to say pick an Arsenal striker, but I can very much see said Arsenal striker only playing like 45 minutes or 60, not playing the full game. So I'd say skip that and instead go to your Southampton, not Southampton, West Ham, who are absolutely fighting to be in Europe. I'm looking at the table right now, and they did have a shot at being in the top four up until this game week where they messed it up. And I think now that is not really likely unless something amazing happens in the midweek fixtures. But they still will have a shot at being in the Europa League. And I want to believe they are going with their A game to try and qualify for Europa and not be in the Conference League. If Everton win their midweek fixture, there are going to be three teams. There are going to be three teams that are going to be on that 62 points. If assuming all the other guys also win in the midweekend, we're going to be down to goal difference. Of course, Spurs is much superior, and West Ham, are second and might qualify for the Conference League. And really, their only hope would be to win their last two games. And so, Mikel Antonio, sorry, so that long winding points, I was just ending up at Mikel Antonio saying that you guys should pick him because. Yeah, they have something to play for. Going with SG's points, go with the teams that have something to play for. So,
okay,
yes, sir. And I don't know on that note, we're going along with people who have something to play for. Maybe I have a little more faith in the idea of a Lacazette. Arsenal need to really confirm that Conference League spot. So they might be playing for something. But I like the sound of Bamford against West Brom. He's still he's arguably in with a chance of going to, or not even arguably. I think he has a very good chance of being on that plane if Southgate gets his head out of his where. But and Bamford, they've been playing well. They've been scoring goals, but his name hasn't been on the score sheet, and I feel like he's going to go all out trying to rectify that in that last game week and who knows, with the Leeds fans all behind him, that could be a huge boost. So I'm looking at Bamford. Kane is a man for the big occasion, so I like him against Leicester. I also like Vardy. I've just mentioned all top three. Vardy against Spurs because another man for the big occasion and they need something. But just to throw some other ideas in there, just if you're looking for other players, I can see Cavani coming in with a late goal against Wolves with his movements. This is a type of game that's tailor-made for him. Like we don't need someone to be pressing from the beginning. You just need a striker, a fox in the box. Or as Mourinho would say, a shark in the box. So I like the look of him there. Liverpool have something to play for. Firmino, coming off his 2 goals against United, maybe starting to smell more goals. He's another option to consider. So, just throwing that out there. I really like the shouts of Mikel Antonio. That was one player I was eyeing up. I think West Ham has something that they're thinking about. And we haven't discussed it much, but Calvert-Lewin. I know they're playing City and it's going to be hard, but City have won the league already. They could be resting players, recycling. Who knows what he's going to be doing? I know even their second team will is still really good, but
Yeah, I was going to say that their
yeah,
second team can win the league.
yeah, even their second team can win the league, so it's not much. But Everton will be playing some good football, and Ancelotti is no slouch. They'll have more to play for, which may affect the game. So I'm thinking Calvert-Lewin is another player to consider.
On the one hand, I agree with you because Everton have more to play with. I'm looking at Newcastle City. There's no reason that game is a 4-3 game. Why should City be struggling to win such a game like that? The only explanation is their season is done as far as the EPL. But on the other hand, I'm also
Nathan
thinking
Ake
about
is playing in defense.
right, and Nathan Ake is playing in defense. On the other hand, I'm thinking that hey, Champions League final is up next. This is the last chance I have to show the manager that I deserve to be in the starting 11. So it could kind of go both ways. You can make both arguments.
Definitely.
And last but not least, last game week. So, SG, who are you giving the armband to?
Oh man, this is a hard one. I guess Kane, Salah. Kane, Salah, and I'm avoiding. I'll throw a wild card in there and say Lingard. For no other reason.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Last game week. PM, what about you? Who you got?
Yeah, I mostly agree with SG. I really like. Okay, here's a really wild card for this week because I think this week it really depends on where you are. If there's no hope for you, I mean, just try something. And so here, more of the let's try something column. Trent Alexander-Arnold against Crystal Palace, and also in the try something column. I would go with Jesse Lingard for West Ham
as well. Okay.
And yeah. Actually, I know SG mentioned it as a wild card, but I think it was Bruno Fernandes who said since the start of the year, Jesse Lingard has low-key been the best player in the Premier League. And since his move to West Ham, it's kind of hard to say otherwise. There aren't too many players who have been playing on his level, so I wouldn't call that too much of a wild card. I would call that more of a common sense pick. For captain, and to be honest, maybe he should feature a little more in picks for captain, but it's the end of the season. So for our third pick, and this is the really tricky one because all the guys that I normally go for are playing big games or playing away or last game of the season. It doesn't mean anything. Who knows if they'll even get picked? Right. So I have to go for the guys playing for something, even in a match where I've said stay clear of this match, and I have to go for Harry Kane. Let me just add one more, Mo Salah. And I say Mo Salah and I say Harry Kane for basically the same reason. They are both going for the golden boots. And those are the two most testy goal when it comes to scoring players. Sorry, I say Mo Salah, and Mo Salah is not even a striker to strike that. But sorry.
You're talking about captain.
Harry Kane, because he's the most testy striker in the whole league. The man wants to win the golden boots. You have to pick him. I'd stay away from this game, but come on. We'll be watching Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, and we will hear that Mo Salah has scored 2 goals. I know that the Spurs bench is going to tell Harry Kane, and all of a sudden, Harry Kane is going to be shooting like an American at a shooting range. Just bam, 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 bam. But yeah,
shooting range.
So I'd say Harry Kane would be my third choice. And for that same reason, actually, I say third choice, and it wasn't really in any particular order. He'd be my number one captain, Harry Kane, because that guy is thirsty. Come on, he has to score. The only situation I see where Harry Kane is not trying to score goals is if Harry Kane is injured. And let's face it, even in that situation, if he knows that he's ahead of Salah by one goal or tied with Salah, you ask the coach to bring in him for the last 30 minutes so that he can score a goal and win it outright. So Harry Kane is my captain.
Okay. Wow. There you go. So Kane, and then you got. Well, SG, who was your captain again?
For me, I had Kane.
You settled on Kane, right?
Yeah, I had Kane, Salah, and then my Lingard wild card.
Oh, sorry. I confused myself a minute. I said Salah and then I said Salah is no striker, and I forgot that we are not picking strikers. We are just picking.
Oh, yeah. I was
like, okay, I confused myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch that from Kane to Salah, basically for the same reason, except Liverpool's.
All right. Wow. And just like that, no better way to end it than everybody winning.
I thought you ended the way you traditionally ended.
By showing love to everybody.
By crowning me winner, just giving me extra points.
So you know it happens. I'm happy you're admitting to it. I mean, it took 11 episodes, but you're finally admitting that that's
I'm not admitting anything. Who says like points are not deserved? Come on.
Well, you use the word extra, which means they aren't part of the normal flow.
Yeah, it's bonus points after you've had everything we both had to offer, and you understand my points. You understand that
see the full picture.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but yeah, any last words as we wrapping up this first season?
Yeah, I just like to say that Robert Mugabe, Vladimir Putin, and even to some extent Donald Trump will all tell you that they won the election fairly. So
okay. Talk about wildcard. SG.
It's been a wild ride. I was coasting in the beginning, but my partner PM started bringing his A game, and the last couple of weeks, there have been more ties as he's. So don't worry. Next season, I'll back stronger, as they say. We put in a shift. We've done well. The lads left it all out there this season. We'll come back next season ready to go. Obviously, would have hoped for some better results and stuff. This is not what we had planned, but back stronger.
Okay, I see you be going to the gym and working out your back this fine Sunday because you keep saying that, but anyway, good for you. More power. That expression, they left it all out there. I always found it strange because for me, if I didn't bring my stuff home, my mother would beat me, but that's all good. I mean, if you want to leave it out there, leave it out there. Good for you.
Well, look at it as in this scenario, their home is out there. So that's why you're supposed to leave it.
I mean, if I did not take my why are you leaving your tools at home then becomes the next question. Aren't you supposed to take them to school? Aren't you supposed to take them with you? But yeah.
Those to take them to school. Use them there. That's it. But yeah, I feel you. And PM, I think you have an announcement. PM Unpacked. When is it coming out?
I don't know. As soon as the airport releases my luggage, I'm sorry to disappoint you. My luggage stays with me. We are not unpacking. This is a private thing. So yeah. Sorry to disappoint you all. But we should announce the winner of the Oh gosh. The winner of last week's what's it called? Question.
And PM one last time for this season. I have a giveaway.
One last time before I go. All right. So welcome to the draw. You know how it usually goes. We give you that $10 for answering the question, who won the Premier League last season? And if you are watching this in 2024, I'm sorry, you're a few years too late. But by last season, I mean the 2019-2020 season. And the answer to that would have been Liverpool. So before, I just want to say a few things. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure that you have a government issued ID and you're above the age of 18, or at least you know someone who has these things, because that is how we get the money to you guys. If you don't have government issued ID, you're going to struggle. There has been so far only one person who we have struggled to get the money to. Everyone else has claimed their money. And I'm not trying to put that person on blast, but you know who you are. Anyway, YouTube is where you can find us. You find our videos every week. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us, honestly, anywhere. Anyway, we are even on Spotify nowadays. So just make sure you check us out. All right. And then without much further ado, let's get to it. The winner is... What a shocker. What a shocker. So, Aliyu, congratulations again. You won last week. You win this week. You're just taking all our money. We have to stop giving you our money. I mean, tell your friends to enter. We can't give you our money every week. It's not a donate to Aliyu podcast. We are trying to spread the love. So get other guys, please enter. Please enter. Okay. But congratulations again for winning the second week. You know how you know what you need to do to get your money, so make sure you do that. All right, guys.
That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
It's been emotional. It's been emotional. What did Eminem say? He said, "When I'm gone,
Eminem,
don't more."
Carry on.
Carry on. As he said. For the last time, we're checking out. We out.
Deuces.